Welcome to Disturbed, the American Horror Story Podcast. Tonight we are talking about Season 6, Chapter 8, which is called Chapter 8, but I'm going to call it The Death Toll Continues. I'm your host, Chris Mao, and with me tonight is...
Rob Southgate. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, Rob. How you doing?
I'm still reeling from this episode, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, no kidding, because as I said, the death toll continues, and although...
How mmany can be left by the end?
Well, you know what?
I mean, I know they say there's one, but are we going to have an episode of one person?
There's only one main character that bites it this time. It's all support characters, which, you know, not to spoil it. I was just saying there's only one main character that dies this time. The rest are support characters who I think kind of deserve to die, but that's just me. So
well, we only had all we have left of the main characters. So one of these people has to survive. We don't have Shelby. we have.
Well, we don't. I mean, so yes, very quickly in Shelby bites it. So
we have Lee. We have Monet. We have
Dylan.
Dylan.
Okay, so at the we'll go into.
Oh, Dylan. Right. Yeah, but I don't think he doesn't count because they said but they said everybody here dies except one person. I think it's everybody that was there at that point. So Dylan could survive, but he doesn't count as the one. I think the one is going to be one of that original group. So you've got Lee, Monet, Audrey, and oh crap! Did Dominic die?
Yes, he did.
I can't.
Piggy Man got him. Piggy Man at the end.
Piggy Man, yes.
And not to be saying that he's one of the most deserving, but he was a tool. He deserved to die. Yeah, and I love some Cuba Gooding Jr., but he was such.
He was great. He was great, though.
He was, and you know who's going to live is probably the least deserving person, which is now it's got to be Lee. Lee's going to be the one to survive.
That's actually what I said too. Is it's going to be Lee. We put up a poll for that. Who do you think? And I put the three names that were left, and the only one that got votes was Lee. Now that doesn't
she's the only one with a chance because the rest are idiots. Because Audrey's not going to live because, I mean, it might happen because it is Audrey because she's such a narcissistic bimbo that she might just make it through.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, truly, logically, we all agree it's Lee, but it could be any of the three. It's like watching Survivor. You watch Survivor and you pick who you think it's going to be. And in episode 10, that person who seems like the shoo-in gets voted out. And you're like, okay, well, now I have to shift. And you keep shifting, and then in the end, you're like, I knew it was that person. In reality, you never know.
Well, and you also see, I would also see that Lee would sacrifice herself to save her daughter. So you could see Lee taking one for the team because she's kind of beat up because, you know, she's a walking steak meat locker. Yeah. So, you know, I could see her taking one for the team and doing something to kill all of the bad people. Right. And doing that as a justification because big reveal, and I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. Lee has something to say about the death of her ex-husband.
Okay, I got to talk to you about this.
Yes.
We don't need to wait till later. Let's jump right into this. So Lee, when she's getting filmed by Polk, one of the Polk boys.
Yes.
The whole town's talking about the Polk boys.
The whole town's talking about the Polk boys.
So when
the cutting, the marijuana.
All right, the cutting. When she's talking to him, she says on camera, I killed Mason. I was by myself. I did it. I'm admitting it. Okay. This is what I don't understand. To me, that was very clear, right?
Right.
Afterwards, I'm reading reviews of the episode from other places, other sources. I want to say AV Club was one of them because I usually read their stuff.
Right.
I want to say
there was something on Uproxx about it too.
Might have been Uproxx, but they indicated that we still don't know who killed Mason. They were indicating like, oh, well, that was just, you know, she was saying that for another purpose. Did you get that? I got the impression she was saying that because she was unburdening herself.
I think she was unburdening herself, but she's also, as you see 10 minutes later, she's very aware of, she's a police officer. I think she's very aware of how to manipulate people.
But so why would she say she killed Mason? What good does that do for the Polks? Why would that buy her 1 second more?
Maybe it gets her some sympathy from the person that's already kind of leaning her way, where she says, hey, I'm a bad person too. Look at what I did. I mean, that's just conjecture. I think she did it. So, I mean, when she admitted it, I wasn't shocked at all. But
actually, I have another thought right there.
Actually, she thinks that kid did it.
Well, no, I have two thoughts here that might be the case. One is, how do we know that it wasn't Matt going out giving a blood sacrifice to the witch?
Right.
There is a chance of that, even though because the story we got about Lee came from Matt. We saw that footage of her leaving, which is suspect, but how do we know it wasn't Matt out there doing it? And maybe she was protecting Matt. And maybe when she admitted it, it wasn't to protect Matt any longer. I mean, maybe it was.
Sure.
But maybe the reason she did it, maybe this wasn't, I'm going to say maybe about 100 times here.
Maybe.
It wasn't clear to us as the viewer. Maybe because that Polk said, we watch TV. We're Americans. We watch the show. Right. Maybe she was doing that to buy time. By saying that, because I said, how does that buy her any time? Maybe it does. Maybe by her saying, I did it, she engages him in conversation. She gets him thinking about stuff. Sure. Because if he's a fan and he knows her story, he's going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe he'd talk about that. But they didn't show us him reacting to it, so that's why it fell flat. But maybe that's what they were going for by her admitting it.
Well, I mean, and I think that it's legitimate because I think she is involved.
You think
in somehow.
She did it?
She was. Maybe we're going to find out at the end that she confronted the husband, and then Matt came, or the witch came and said, the only way to get this done is for you to sacrifice your husband. So she says she did it by herself, as opposed to, I think she left the door wide open that somebody else was involved. Who knows who that somebody else is? And at the end, when she says we have to go back and get the videotape, there's no reason other than she feels that that's condemning to her. She doesn't care about killing.
Exactly. Yeah, she doesn't care about them killing that person. It's that video where she admitted it. Right. She's got to get rid of that.
Right. For once, Audrey made sense that she didn't, when she says they're going to see the whole video where I'm getting attacked and we're eating your leg and nobody's going to blame us for killing them.
Right.
And then she's like, well, no, we killed somebody. We have to go back. And I just looked right through that saying, oh yeah, you're in trouble. So
yeah, I agree. That was her motivation. And I do think part of me does believe that she did do it. I think that they've been toying with us, making us think that maybe she didn't, maybe she did, maybe this and that. I would not be surprised if it wasn't her with Lee or with somebody. She hasn't really had face-to-face with any of these ghost people.
We don't know that. She left for 4 hours. Who knows what happens out there?
She did leave for 4 hours. Maybe she was with the witch. Maybe the witch.
One of the other ones. Who knows?
Well, I'm thinking with the witch, because she's got this infatuation with Matt, and maybe it's that bloodline that she's attached to. And maybe we'll find out that witch is somehow connected to that family, which is why this continued to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? There's a lot out there for it. So
yeah.
I think there's and it's hard to I guess I hate to say it's hard to have a theory on that because we're starting to lose people and we don't have any other options. You can say, oh, well, they did this. Dominic did this. Shelby did this. It's like, well, no, they did because Shelby's locked in the bathroom, kind of all beat up with Dominic after she bashes her husband's skull in, her ex-husband. And then Dominic's like, you got to turn yourself in. You can't be sitting out here. It's like, and she's like, no, I'm not turning myself in. What are you talking about? And
how about this scene? When Shelby and Dom, before they get to the bathroom, when they go down into the tunnel, they have to walk past Matt's bashed in head. Right. They go down in the tunnel. To me, I'm anticipating Mott, right?
No.
Instead, we get the spider people climbing along the walls.
What is it? I can't think of the name of the family.
Was that the family?
That was the family. Yeah, that was
the same one that grabbed the kid. Remember the one that grabbed Flora?
Right. She mentions it. The Lee family or whatever family it is. I don't know. So I'm sorry. I'm not.
So they're the ones climbing the walls?
Yeah, and she even says that. She goes, oh, it's the blah, blah, blah family. And then they run back in.
They were freaking me out. And the one had that white face.
Yes.
That was freaking me out big time.
Pulling a ring on us.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it did have that ring. Samara, is that her name on the ring?
Samara, yeah. With the ring and whatever the one upstairs, the Grudge, which was fantastic. Both of them were fantastic, by the way.
Oh yeah. So that was getting me. But when they ran in and they're like, I wrote on here, what the hell was that climbing the walls? That was a truly scary moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting Mott. So I was prepared for the in the hallway. No.
You were prepared for Brad Garrett? That would have been great if Brad Garrett played Mott in the real Mott. That would be awesome.
Nemo.
Remake this movie wrong with Rob and Chris Mao.
Oh, it's
yeah. And we'll get Carrot Top.
Oh, I got a question. Carrot Top. Awesome. Why isn't he in this? He's a freak show. I got a question. Way to throw Carrot Top under the bus.
Him and Pee Wee. Him and Paul Rubens.
There's a shot in this that was super questionable to me. And it was highlighted and not resolved. And I want to know what the hell this was. When Lee is in the chair, okay, and she's alone in that room. She's tied up. She's got her leg cut up. Polk leaves, okay? That's, by the way, that's Finn Wittrock playing that Polk, which I didn't know until the end. And I'm like, oh, that is amazing. There is a shot. Now, we know where the cameras are this whole time. If you pay attention to the cameras, it's been very logical.
There's another camera. Yeah.
It's up in the corner. It's on the phone. It's over here. Everything makes sense. When he leaves and she's sitting in the chair, there is a camera that is handheld because it's moving. There's a little motion when you handhold. Under the table, shooting Lee. Who the hell is under that table shooting her? Because they never resolve it, but it wasn't just a quick, brief. It was long enough that I was able to sit there and process, like, there is clearly somebody holding that camera. Who aren't we seeing?
I know. No. Could it have been his phone?
No, because a person was holding it. If you watch that shot, if it was his phone, if you take a phone and you put it on camera and you drop it, okay, there's no motion to it. This was in the air. It was suspended.
There was one that
it went like this, and then it went like that to kind of show her better in frame. That's what happens when you are shooting with a camera phone.
Right.
That is absolutely what that was. So that leaves the question, who was under the table? Because it was a person holding that camera. No question. Go back and watch that scene. And it goes on for like 20 seconds. It's a long shot.
Right.
So they obviously were telling us something. If I'm wrong, I'd be very surprised.
Maybe I don't know who it could be.
If I'm wrong, then it was a huge mistake on their part. And this is like watching a chess game. There are not really mistakes here. They're concise with what's going on. There may be weird choices.
I'm going to try and pull it up and take a look and see.
But, definitely watch. It's when she's alone in the room.
Right.
The shot is from under the table, and it moves. If you look at it and you think, is somebody holding that camera? Yes, because I went back and rewound it. I had Martha watch it with me.
Is it from in front of her or from the side?
It's from under the table to the side of her.
Okay, I'll take a look and see. Maybe there is something under there.
And when I showed it to Martha, I said, her reaction after, I was like, watch this scene. And she goes, who's under the table?
Right.
But when they put the camera, when they show the stagnant camera that's opposite that, you don't see anybody under the table. So somebody is under there shooting. Unless it's like, it's Dennis O'Hare. It's a raccoon that the one that set up the pig ring. That's what it is. Maybe it's Agnes.
Agnes, yes.
Somebody's under there. Now
it's Cricket. It's a ghost of Cricket past.
Oh, I hope so. They would have heard a little chirp, and you go, "It's Cricket."
She goes, "You ever heard for pay for?"
Yeah,
pay for play.
Pay for what? Yeah. Let's see. I have a quote I wanted to bring up. There are some great quotes in this. Aside from "We're part of the United States, we get TV."
Yeah.
Another line that I loved. I'm gonna make a meme out of this one. If you ain't Polk, you ain't people.
That's right.
What a great line. Fear exhaustion. How about this one? This might have been the high point of Polk lines, though. And there were two great ones. How about this one? Mama says fear and exhaustion gives the jerky a delicious tang.
Tang, yeah. No kidding. Like,
all of it was gross till tang. And then when you hear tang, it's like, oh, what a great word for that. And gross.
That's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre like. So
yeah.
Awesome.
So
well, what about Audrey at the end where they're running around and she's talking like, "Oh, I gave the best performance I've ever given of him." Like,
in the middle of all this, and her narcissism comes up.
Well, then she's like, "Shelby wouldn't have done that. I was her. I acted for her for 6 months. I know her better than I know myself." It's like,
yeah.
How full of yourself do you be? Miss Saturn Award winner.
Yeah. Holy God. She is. She's a complete narcissist. And how about when we find Rory and he's like bleeding on her? That was great. She looks up and he's like just owl above her.
Right.
I thought we were done seeing Evan Peters. We got one more shot.
We do.
It was a good one.
Evan Peters shot. So
yes.
And we found out that was a Polks that strung him up, which
yes. Yeah. Well, the Polks have some kind of weird deal with these Roanoke's.
Well, they have an agreement, so that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they it comes in, they're like big drug dealers. That's awesome. Oh, crop's good. We make a lot of money.
Yeah, they've got all that weed everywhere in there, and they eat people. We never go hungry.
Yeah. You have more money, you can eat all the Cheetos you want and biscuits and gravy. What the hell? Who cares what you're eating? Jeez.
Let's see. Shelby slits her own throat. That was a shocker.
Yeah.
Because the way it happened, I mean, I had to go back and rewatch it because I was like, wait, did she just, it was done so quickly and it was clearly slice.
Right.
That's when things got very real in that house again. Dominic, who saw the head bash and everything, he stopped. His narcissism cooled out at this point, because he even had it when he was down there with Lee, like, Sydney, what are you doing to me? Get me out of here. And then he even was telling her, it's like, I took this thinking we get a sequel and we get a whatever. And when that happens, he's not joking around anymore. He's kind of over,
right?
Which was cool. The way they handled it, and like I said, I didn't remember Piggy taking him out until you said it, because I was just so shocked by everything else. But
that was it was very quick. It's like, oh, you're out of the room. See you later. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. This was a tough one. So we had that great scene. We should actually say this before we get to the tough one. We had that great scene where they ended up very much of a hostile type scene. They take Lee has escaped. We have Monet and Audrey in the chairs. Monet leaves Audrey when she escapes.
Yes.
Audrey's just sitting there. In walks Mama Polk, rips out one of her teeth with the pliers, and then Lee comes in. I can't believe they didn't just bash that woman's head in. They let her kind of start to get up before they did anything.
Well, it gets back to the real life people doing or the actors doing what the real life people did, because Shelby bashed in Matt's head. Well,
and now Audrey bashes in Mama Polk. Yeah. So I thought that was a really great scene, but that whole scene was very tense. Like, I didn't breathe through all of that. But then this is the one. This one killed me. Audrey and Lee escape there. They go back through the tunnel. They get back in the house. They got to go past Matt. Lee was crushed.
Oh yeah,
I bought that performance. When that happened, I'm like, the way when she saw it, and then it was like it's very real at this point. It's not just we're running through a haunted house or, oh, I saw so-and-so dead. She saw Matt, who she's been a protector of this whole time. She doesn't know who killed Matt. She's just gone through getting her leg eaten, part of her leg eaten and all this other stuff. I'm telling you, I was like, wow, this was a rough scene. Made me very, very sad, we'll say. Then they go up and they find Shelby, and Dominic tells them that Shelby's the one that killed Matt. And of course, Lee's like, of course, that horrible wench did it. But you've got, really, at this point, 3 of the 4 survivors in this bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, how the hell are they getting out of here? Which we know they're not necessarily. Dominic, Piggy shows up, takes out Dom. We still haven't seen where Monet is.
Right.
She's gone, but she's not gone. There's no way.
She's being chased by, right.
Unless, we saw the Polks chasing her down. But what if it turns out she is the lone survivor? What if she runs through the woods and she ends up getting away?
Right.
And really, there are no survivors on those grounds in that house. By the grace of God, she gets past those Polk boys. Maybe she kills them and she gets away, and we find out she's the only survivor. But she gets blamed, just like you said, art imitating life or life imitating art. Yeah. They blame her for killing everybody the way they blamed Lee for killing Mason.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
The longer I talk, the more I start to make sense. I want to address something Danette wrote here on our chat. And anybody listening, when we're doing this live, we'll try to be good about putting out when we're doing it live. But if you jump on, you follow us on our YouTube channel, we have a chat room open during our show, and we love to address it. Danette wrote, I heard a theory about the end of this season that I totally agree with. It's a show within a show within a show. So.
Within a show.
So this is something that we talked about here. I don't remember when this was revealed, but they've stopped talking about it. Supposedly there was, not supposedly, there was the big game changer that they revealed would happen in episode 6, right?
Mm-hmm. But they said 6 and 9.
Oh, I thought it was 6 and 10.
No, but they said 6 through 9. I thought
6 through 9. Right. Big game changer. So Danette might be right, or this theory might be right. What if episode 10 proves out that it's a show within a show within a show? But I think that the show within a show within a show has gone very south, because I think, well, maybe not. Maybe some of this is a setup, because we saw them planting stuff around the house. We haven't seen the fake disposal go off.
Right.
We know they were setting up these fake traps. What if those start going off? Now, the only one that we do know is what's his name shows up at the very end in the Piggy costume. And it was obvious it was a costume. I was like, that's not Piggy.
Right.
Because you could see the back of the head. Because the real Piggy the real Piggy looks like it's a real pig head.
Well, we know it's not, because we know that it's a guy that was burned alive with a pig on his head for stealing.
Right. So we see him. But I mean, before he took the pig head off, we see Pig at the door, and you're like, this isn't Piggy.
First off, he rang the doorbell, didn't he?
And it turns out it's Dylan, right?
Yeah.
And we know that the reason he's there dressed in the pig costume is he's an actor set up to scare them as the pig man.
But he played the son in the reenactment.
Right. He played the butcher's son, Ambrose, in the reenactment. So we know that there is the show within a show happening there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Will they do it that... Okay, I got a theory. I'm going to throw a theory out.
Uh-oh.
It's not a show within a show within a show. I'm going to say it's not a show within a show within a show. I think they're going to do the exact same thing. Episode 10, they're going to go back to Roanoke, and they're going to throw whoever it is in there. If it's Monet that survived, they're going to make Monet go back into that house. Or the show, My Roanoke Nightmare, will be over, and in that last episode, we will see that character go back, and it no longer is this first-person thing. We'll see the show as a show, not what's getting aired on TV. Okay, so we've seen 2 TV shows so far. This last one will be the actual episode of American Horror Story, where, let's say it's Monet, or let's say it's Lee. Let's go with Lee. I think Lee makes sense. Lee goes back to finish this off. But it's no longer the found footage.
It's
Lee goes back with the intention of, I'm killing the Polks.
Well, the Polks are two out of 3 are dead, aren't they?
I'm ending this, though. And it's not about finding anything other than it's the final thing. But she ends up ultimately becoming the butcher. Do you think maybe someone ends up being the butcher?
Well, what about if the theory holds that they're bringing back the Sarah Paulson Supreme character, that there's a tie in the Coven in this? Okay. Maybe Lee goes or Monet goes to New Orleans and they find the Supreme, and the Supreme comes in and says, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to come in and fix this once and for all. And then she comes in and just...
all hell breaks loose.
And then, literally all hell breaks loose and they just wipe them out. I don't know.
Yeah, my theory, it's actually a hypothesis. It's not sound yet. But I'm not thinking it's a show within a show within a show. I'm thinking that last episode is going to be the first episode of season 6 of American Horror Story. It is going to break that first-person camera thing. It's going to be a contained episode that shows this is how it all resolves. No question who's real, who's not. This is what's happening.
This is real life. Yeah, possibly.
And ultimately, I think the butcher is going to end up standing there in a circle of blood with all of the ghosts that are left. And remember, the ghosts weren't real happy with the butcher.
Right.
So are they going to try to revolt? is there going to be something like that? I don't think so. I think they've already done that. I think they've already shown us that type of thing before with Hotel. But I think the Butcher is going to be standing tall at the end.
Hotel was ghosts against vampires. It wasn't ghosts against ghosts, and this is ghosts against ghosts.
Ghosts against ghosts. But I think whoever lives through the next episode will be the lone survivor that they talked about. And then the final episode is in the real world. It's an American Horror Story episode, as opposed to this
it's
reality show.
Revenge.
They're not going to do that. That's what I say. They're not going to do that. We're going to get the first time we're going to see an actual American Horror Story intro to the episode, because we haven't seen one yet. We'll see what the intro is to this season. It'll be one episode, and very, very likely that lone survivor dies.
Yes.
And maybe the last shot is we find out that Flora is, maybe they flash forward and Flora's older and she's going back, and that history is going to continue to repeat itself. Maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they let the Flora thing we get a shot of her in an asylum or something like that.
Yeah, Flora. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows where that comes in? Because I'm shocked that they haven't brought Flora in one capacity or another. Because her dad's dead. But
why would she be back there?
Because Sydney's an idiot and would bring her back. He's like, oh, it'd be great for live TV because none of them believe that there's anything bad going on.
Sure.
So why would they think that would happen?
All right.
Did you hear me? That?
Yeah. Did we hit everything here?
I think so.
I've got some kind of weird high-pitched sound going on here at my house. So I say we end it. And I will have to deal with whatever's going on. Probably a fire alarm. I'm going to be dead soon. That's okay. I'll come back in a pig head. All right. That's it. Thank you for listening, everybody. We will be back next week. We're all caught up now. We'll be back next week with episode 9.
A week from Monday. Yes.
I can't wait. Follow us on Twitter @DisturbedPod. Boom. You see it right there on the screen if you're watching. Follow us on Facebook. Boom. Right there on the screen. Disturbed Podcast. Go to Facebook. Look that up. Get in conversation with us. Actually, what we're going to do is on Wednesday of this week, after the show airs, we're going to put up a thread that says, like, spoiler thread, so people can talk about the episode. So please get on there and talk about the episode. If you have questions, if you have comments, share them with us. Chris, why don't you give your social media? And while you do that, I'm going to scan here just to see if, by chance, anybody wrote in last minute to us.
Absolutely. You can find me at theblueboxcafe.com. That's our website, or at Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on social media.
All right. We did not get anything more other than Tyler, who we had mentioned in the last episode, had written, Tyler thought that maybe Shelby was the Supreme because she healed so fast from that gash. And I thought that was a really good one, even though we kind of knew that didn't quite hold up. But I thought there was something entertaining about that. While this episode was airing, actually, so Tyler is at _boy with 2 Y's, who with 2 O's lived with 2 D's, boy who lived. Tyler wrote, well, there goes that theory. That cranked me up because I saw it before I saw the episode. And when that popped up, I was like, oh, Shelby dies. That was really good. So thanks for that, Tyler.
She's the Burrito Supreme is what she is. So
Burrito Supreme. Nice. And then also, I tweeted out, I just wanted to highlight this. If you go to our Twitter feed, Kirk Manley does artwork for every episode of The Walking Dead. I wish he did them for us, but he does them for Walking Dead. He used to be a co-host on our show Biters, which is a Walking Dead podcast. It's awesome if you don't listen to it. But he does this amazing comic art for each episode, and his art for the first episode with Negan, you all know what that is if you watch that show, is so good. I retweeted it, and he retweeted to us, thanks, man. I'm glad you like the art. It's so cool. So go check it out. It's super cool. Let's see. A couple more quick plugs. The 7th, we are going to be live at the Blue Box again. No, 7th or is it the 12th? The 12th, which is Saturday the 12th.
7th is tomorrow. So
yeah, Saturday the 12th, we are live at the Blue Box again. If you're in the Chicagoland area, come out to Elgin and see us at the Blue Box. We're going to be doing Harry Potter night. We're not doing American Horror Story. It's Harry Potter night. So all you muggles, all you single muggles, come on out. It's going to be a good time. And support us, enjoy it there. It's going to be a lot of fun to meet Chris and I live. It's a blast. I can't wait. It's been a while since we've been in there. So not since the marathon.
Yeah, it has.
So I'm going through withdrawal. If I didn't have this podcast with you, Chris, I'd be missing my Chris.
That's right.
And let's see. Oh, you know what? Pay attention. We're going to be branching this off into its own YouTube channel, where I'm going to put all the episodes up. I'm going to put the live episodes, and then extra stuff is going to start going on there. So for now, you get it at Southgate Media Group, but in the future, it will have its own Disturbed podcast YouTube channel coming soon. And we also are going to set up a Patreon for this. So if you want to support the show, you'll be able to do it that way. But for now, if you want to support us, you can always go to the Southgate Media Group Patreon page. You can do $1 a month. You can do $5 a month. Do a one-time donation of $50 and say, hey, I love each season. Here's $50 to support you. Whatever you do, it helps us. It helps keep this going, and it helps us improve the quality of things, which, as you can tell from this episode, we could use. Yes. Yeah, man, that's it. I am done. You got any final words there, Chris?
No, I think we're all good. I'm looking forward to the last 2 episodes of this season, and then get to where we need to be. So
yeah, well, all I got to say is if you ain't Polk, you ain't Pete.